pickleball showed up, and it was like instantly when I hit that ball, I was like, this is it.
Pickleball is more than just a sport. It brings new friendships, new adventures. Pickleball has changed my life, and I love hearing stories of the impact it's had on others, like Canadian pickleball player Sara Weiss. This is Sara Weiss's Pickleball Life. First of all, thank you for being here today. I caught the article in the Pickler and immediately thought you'd make an amazing guest. It's a conversation that I think is timely, but I wanted to obviously go beyond the conversation. I saw a video where you say, pickleball saves lives. It has changed my life, and I was never even into sports. There's a lot packed into that statement, and I would actually like to start with the end of that statement. Talk about you, your childhood, growing up. If you weren't into sports, why not? And what were you into? I want to hear all about you as a kid.
The juicy details. Yeah. So I grew up in a very low income household with 3 younger sisters. And I was kind of like the protector of everybody, including my mom, who was a single mom for a lot of that. My father wasn't present because of drugs and alcohol. We were living in little kind of bummy houses, and it was, there was like street hockey, and I would play sometimes, but I just never enjoyed it. I never enjoyed sports. I loved playing at the park. I loved playing with Barbies and my Beanie Baby collection. I loved my Beanie Babies. They were the best. Chocolate the Moose was my very first Beanie Baby. I'll never forget that.
Aren't you Canadian? Aren't you supposed to love hockey? Don't you like come out of the womb?
Into the snow? Yeah, no, I did enjoy skiing and snowboarding, but I guess here's another reason why sports aren't my thing. The first 3 years of snowboarding, and my family had season passes to all the mountains. First year snowboarding, broke my arm. Second year, broke it again, but broke both the bones. Third year, broke a collarbone. I'm like, I am done with this freaking thing. I loved volleyball in middle school. I was actually pretty good at it because I was tall for my age. My whole family is tall. My mom's side, they're Dutch, and like my grandpa's like 6'4". My aunt is like 6'5". Like the women and the men, they're all super, super tall. So I'm 5'10" and a half, which compared to some of them is like tiny. So I had the height advantage, but sports just never interested me. I just wanted to play. I'm like very playful and bubbly. So like, I just want to jump around, go play at the park, be around friends, socialize. And that was just always kind of my jam. I also liked Super Mario. I was really a big fan of Super Mario. Yeah. Loved me some Super Mario.
My grandmother bought me what she called Nintendo. She could never pronounce it for some reason. Yeah, no, I was obsessed. So how did you discover let me spell again. For some reason, I always say this. It's a silly name and it's a great name, but I'm like pickleball.
Nintendo.
How did you discover pickleball?
Well, it was by accident. The greatest accident ever. My ex-husband, he wanted to teach me tennis, and he took me to a court that we had been driving by. It was this little public court, just one court on the corner of Main Street and stuff. And he's like, I want to teach you tennis. I'm like, okay, let's go bond on a tennis court. Sure. He walks on and instantly was confused. He's like, something's not right. This looks like a tennis court, but I don't know that it is. But I don't know what it is. I sucked. I don't know what I'm doing. It was really weird. I kept hitting the ball into the fence and stuff. And he just, the whole time, he's like, this just isn't right. Something's wrong. And we walked out, and there was this board where you would hang your racket or paddle, and there was a picture of a racket and a picture of a BDSM-looking tool, a paddle. And he's like, I don't know what that is. So we went home and we Googled it, and we saw some of these top pros like Simone Jardim and Annalie Waters, 14-year-old, kicking everyone's butts. And we watched it, and we were like, what is this? This is an actual thing? And he's like, I don't know, but do you want to try it? I'm like, okay, we can bond over pickleball. And we went and we got some very cheapo paddles, and he just kicked my ass. He just kicked my butt all around the court. I'm like, are you proud of yourself? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Are you proud of yourself? And he's like, okay, I'll hit you the ball. And then he was like teasing, like, here you go, honey. Here you go. I'm like, yeah, I can hit it. Well, 3 months later, I was kicking his butt.
What is it about pickleball?
I mean, the sound to me, I love. There's a court that got shut down around us because a neighbor was complaining about the sound of it, and I'm like, I love it. I'm a member on a court that or a club that has 14 courts. You walk into it and it's just ding 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 ding. That sound is just like therapeutic to me. So that I guess is the first thing. And then when you get to like hang out with people and everyone is just so darn nice. I always have had a social life, but this is different. Like I am good friends with everyone on the court. You get there, it's like, hi, Sarah. Hey, Doris. Hey, John. Hey, everyone. It's just like, you just want to give everyone hugs. And then you go to tournaments. And like, when you get to know people on the circuit, I can go I've been to 2 tournaments in Florida. And the last one being the US Open, every 5 seconds I was running into somebody I know, either from Facebook or I've already met them, already played against them, with them. And it's just the happiest little community. I think another big thing about this is like, it feels like you're an athlete and you watch it and it doesn't look like anything crazy, but you're out there, you're like, I'm so good, I'm so fast, I'm an athlete. But then you watch a recording of it and it's like, dink, dink, dink. Like it doesn't look like very much, but it feels awesome.
So until relatively recently, you were seemingly happy, living a very private life, out of the public eye, and then boom, everything changed. So talk to me about that moment. What happened?
Where do I begin? I guess well, I was born, 35 years ago. Oh my God. Well, yeah. So I went to the US Open and it was like 3 days in and I'm about to go to bed. And, at that time, I am the team director for Pro Light Sports. I had access to their social media as an admin and a message came in. And I don't usually open the messages, but I see the preview, and the preview is something along the lines of, how could you endorse ... And I was like, I wonder what this is. And I opened it and it was, how could you endorse? And it said some nasty things and quoted a Twitter post. I'm like, what is this? And I opened the Twitter post and holy crap. Apparently I was going viral in a negative way. Icons Women made multiple posts about me with a lot of derogatory slang used against me, and the retweets and the comments were dark. They were nasty, very, very mean, very discriminative, and I was shooken. I was shooken because I didn't see that coming. It kind of train wrecked me. Talking about how they didn't agree with me playing in a female event. Because if you don't know by now, I was born a different gender. I don't really identify with the label that people want to use. They call it transgender. It's never anything that I've identified with. I'm just a woman. And, this was, they were calling me this man, this trans-identifying male, like that doesn't even make sense. But anyways, so there was all these things, and I went to sleep very stressed out. And like, I'm a life coach, so I'm pretty mentally and emotionally sturdy and healthy. But this it just hit me out of nowhere. And the next day I was like, if you meet me at a tournament, you get to meet the most excited, bubbly puppy dog. I'm just like, yay! And I go hug everyone. Hi! And that next day I showed up. I was like, I didn't want to look at anybody. I didn't know if I'd get confronted or if someone was going to want to hurt me or confront my partners. I didn't know what to expect. And I almost didn't go. But as a coach, I'm like, okay, what would I tell myself in this moment? And the first thing that came up is, you just got to show up. Just go show up. Get out of your head and show up. And I did. And I was trembling, and I went off to the corner with a friend of mine who was keeping me. He's like, you can't hide. You got to show up. You got to do this. And we went and started just practicing hitting the ball. And someone I know, actually a friend of mine, she was there and she's like, hey. And I'm like, she's like, that's weird. You're the one running up to hug people. So she came up. She's like, do I know you? Like, where'd you go? And she's like, whoa, she could tell instantly my energy was off. And she's like, oh my God, are you okay? And she hugged me and I just like broke down, started crying. And she's like, oh my gosh. And she waved at her partner, like, give me a minute. And we walked off to the side and I told her what was happening. And she was just like, oh my God, girl, like, ah, gave me her pep talk. And she's a little French girl from around here, and she's just in her cute accent. She's like, you can do this. You're too awesome to let it bother you. And it really helped. It was really nice. And I've got to say, the whole day I was almost like a little celebrity. People were coming up to me, like, I saw what's going on. Can I get a picture with you? People I didn't know. Can I get a picture with you? You're amazing. And all the stuff that was in the background in the social media, like 500,000 people engaged and shared and tweeted and retweeted and commented on this post. It was big in the background, lots of negativity, but in my reality, it was beautiful. I had an amazing time. I played, and something that happened the next day was that, and I'm sure you were going to ask about this, but the guy who dropped out, you want me to get into it now?
Yeah.
Okay. So my mixed doubles. So I was there to play women's doubles and mixed doubles. Mixed doubles, you play with a guy. And I was playing with this guy in a tournament before. Actually, a year earlier, I went down to Orlando and I met him, and he was playing with me. He's like, you're amazing. Where'd you come from? I'm like, I'm from Canada. He's like, you got to come down and play some tournaments here. So he invited me to 2 tournaments, one being the US Open, one being Daytona Beach. And we played that tournament together in mixed doubles. We had played many games together. I'd stayed at his house now the second time. And he was really nice. He always sent me motivational things and stuff to improve my game. And then he found out the news, and he calls me. He's like, "Oh my God, I'm hearing the news. Like, you got to sue them for personal defamation. This is ridiculous. You got to prove that that this is wrong. That this isn't true." And I'm like, "Whoa. What do you mean not true?" He's like, "Well, you're not transgender." I'm like, I was born a different gender. And he's like, "Excuse?" I'm like, yeah. He's like, what do you mean? Like, you have kids and you mean like a man? Like, yeah. I was born biologically male. He's like, oh my God. And he was stumbling over his words, didn't know what to say. And then the next day, which was the day we were supposed to play, half an hour before our event, he sends me a text message. And I mean, he was nice about it, but he basically said, I'm going to back out. I don't want to be considered a cheater and all that stuff. He never knew. He'd known me for a year in a pretty close way, and he never knew. And of course, most people didn't. But all of a sudden now, got a label slapped on my head because this movement wanted to kick me down and beat me up. And honestly, what's amazing about it is that in the posts that I've made, the female competitors that I've played against or with are chiming in saying, you're right where you belong. We'll gladly continue to compete against you. Whereas this movement's like, it's unfair and all the women should stand up and leave and boycott you so you can't play and da-da-da. Well, the people who are playing me realize that I'm not like whatever they're making me out to be. I'm just like all of you. I'm like all the other women. It's the weirdest thing. And another thing that bothers me about this is that I stand for and with and as women. I stand for women. Women's rights is a big deal for me. All of it. Like, I got to enjoy male privilege.
I was going to ask you about this.
Yeah, no, I lost that 10 years ago, and that's a hit. That's a hit. That guy that used to be me, that guy that I have memories of, he used to walk into a room and instant respect. People just trusted the bullshit that came out of his mouth. It's like I didn't have to work for it. It just happened. It was given to me. People just trusted me and respected me. And there was no misogyny, no mansplaining crap. Like, everyone just trusted my word. The sexist stuff that's said to me all the time, I'm treated like some object. The amount of work and energy I have to put in just to get respect and be taken seriously. If anyone can stand for women's rights with a full understanding of misogyny and sexism, that's me.
I just want to take that in because you had mentioned it on the podcast, and it really hit me how experiential it is for you. White male privilege is something that I think when you have it, you can somewhat understand it, but when it gets taken away,
hits you like a ton of bricks. It's very, very easy to see. I don't think guys totally understand that. Like they might assume something, but to have that be taken, it's bad. The amount of men who condescend me, ugh,
On the court?
yeah, tons of that. Preferential treatment to all the guys, whether I'm better than them or not. So it's very interesting to be in a place where, this movement, icons women, saying, we're standing up for women's rights, keep this man out of women's sports. It's like, I'm standing with women's rights here. And I know where I belong because I am a woman and I'm not like this advantaged woman more than, anyone else. Like I know women way taller than me, faster than me, stronger than me. I mean, there's this woman I follow on TikTok. She is amazing. She is 6'4", 6'5". Yeah, with a size 16 men's shoe, built like a linebacker. What are you going to do when you come up against her on the court? You're going to tell her it's not fair? You should go play with the men? This isn't about that. People want to say it is, but it's not. It's a discrimination thing. If you don't see me as a woman, then of course, when I do well, you're not going to see women rising. But that's exactly what's happening. I'm playing for women. I'm not playing for anyone else. I'm not trying to represent any movement or anything. I'm just playing because I love the game. And, they're saying you should go play in a men's division and all this stuff. And I'm like, God, if that's what the professionals tell me to do, I'll do it because I just love the sport. And it's not about anything but enjoying the sport. It would look silly. I'd be the cutest guy on the court, but it would be a mockery.
So I know you're not on Twitter, and it sounds like you perused that thread a bit. I did pull up a couple of the comments because I found some of them just like alarming. And I wanted for you to take them in and respond because I know a big part of what you're doing right now is educating people.
Yeah. And so I didn't want to be in this position, but God, universe, source forced me into it. And I've embraced it because I surrender. I'm not trying to resist the universe. I'm on a path and here I am. I enjoyed not being defined by that fucking label. It is not something that defines me. I mean, I am constantly redefining who I am every day, but you want to talk about who I am? I'm a very devoted and passionate mother. I'm a very passionate and excited pickleball player. These things define me. I'm a life coach, and when people meet me, my goal is to remind them how amazing they are so that when they leave the conversation, they feel good about themselves and they're ready to take on the world because mountains are everywhere and we're all climbing them. Not just me, not just you. We're all climbing mountains. So when I see these comments, I know they're climbing mountains too. Probably in the middle of climbing a mountain that's making them very miserable enough to want to kick someone down. So I see these comments and I'm like, I have this compassion for them. And it doesn't hurt me. So recently, like, I'm like, okay, so what do I got to do here? What's my mission here? I guess I need people to get to know me. I'm not going to sit here and spout out opinions and try and run up the facts list and be a scientist or, I'm not representing the medical side of things because I'm not a professional in any of that. All I can tell you is my experiences. I can tell you who I am. And when people get to know me, they meet me on the court, they agree. I'm exactly where I belong. And I am a woman. I'm not a man. But I'm not going to go and say my opinions on this. So I'm getting people to know me. So I go live on Facebook almost every day and I share little updates. Here's what I'm up to. Here's what's going on. Here's what the world is like with me. And just hoping that people can, when you get to know me, it's like, oh, she's not so scary. She's not a threat to females or women's sports. But what I've been experiencing over this 3 weeks to a month now is the abuse. This is much bigger than me. It's bigger than me playing pickleball, trying to be a pro and playing in female events. It's bigger than everything that it started as. And I'm seeing that I need to stand for the people who can't stand for themselves. Because it's mean out there. And the mental health issues that are happening because of these attacks, people who are harming themselves because they're being nonstop ridiculed, attacked, and discriminated against just for fucking existing. Forget sports. They're just existing. They're just in your way. And people are trying to stomp on them and make them not exist. It is disgusting and it has to end. We're in 2023, guys. Let's fucking evolve here. So I am now in the public eye. Again, I didn't want to be here. I was really happy not having any label slapped on me and just being unassuming Sara. And, of course, I'm getting all these messages like, I had no idea. Yeah, of course you didn't. It's not something I'm jamming down people's throats. I even wrote a book, and in the book, like, it's called Not Born This Way. It wasn't about transgender or any of that. And still, so many people do not know. Still, even now.
Going back to your book, the title struck me. What does the title mean to you?
It means that we don't have to define ourselves by our past. That we get caught up on all these things that society feeds us, especially as children. A lot of us have childhoods that are not ideal, that, maybe there's traumas that have happened, nasty things that have affected us in negative ways, and they've created belief systems that have affected us, into our adulthood. And so many people look in the mirror and they see who they see, and they define themselves by who they think they see. It's like, I am damaged, I am hurt, I am sad, I am depressed, I have ADHD, all these labels, and then they get stuck there. And it's like they were born this way. In my book, it's really about, in my coaching, I teach people, like, you are not who you see in the mirror. You are who you are creating at every moment of your life. Who are you creating yourself to be? You don't have to be stuck in who you think you were. You're not who you were. You're who you're becoming every single moment. So that title, it really had nothing to do with my gender, but obviously it is very fitting with everything. And that's why in the title, there's parentheses over the not, because I was born this way, but I was not born this way. I constantly evolve. We all do if we choose to, because as you see, some people, it's like you don't see them since high school, and then you see them, it's like, you haven't changed a bit. And everybody who sees me, it's like every time they see me, I'm an evolved version, because that's my mentality. And so many things about my history, especially going through the transition and everything, I've had all these labels and these things thrown at me, and definitions of me, and like the world telling me, this is what you are this, and you are terrible, and you are blah 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 blah, blah, like feeding me all of what they think I am. And I could easily let those labels and definitions of me stick, but I don't. I have no intention of being what you want me to be. I'm going to be who I'm becoming every day.
Words are ways in which we are able to identify things, describe things,
put things in a box.
Is that your issue?
Yeah, I don't belong in a box. I mean, even gender in general, women and men, like, I don't speak in third person. When I talk, I'm talking about me, my soul. Like, that stuff to me doesn't really matter. When someone's talking to me, it doesn't matter to me anyways what gender I am or they are. And when someone looks at me and thinks, oh, that's just a transgender girl, like, you are missing out on the big picture here. So I don't care for that label. I don't care for any label that instantly puts me in a box that does not really have anything to do with who I am. I don't think of myself as transgender. I never look in the mirror and go, hey, there's that transgender girl. Like, no, but I do look in the mirror, and I talk to myself in the mirror a lot, and I go, you're an amazing mother. I'm proud of you. You are a potential pro in this sport. I'm proud of you. You keep working at it, and let's see where we go. Those are some things I say to myself. I do not ever look at me and go, ooh, transgender. Like, the world is so turned upside down right now about that, and the label, and the whole LGBTQ2S plus, something like that. I think I got the alphabet. It's crazy. I'm not really part of that community. I don't really even go to like pride parades or anything. Like, I'm an ally, and I have tons of friends who are gay, lesbian, bi, straight, transgender, and all kinds of different things. But I'm not, like, it's not my community. It's not my group. I surround myself with people who are amazing, and they're dedicated to their growth and being kind to the people around them, and who want to see a better world that they live in, and are uplifting and empowering, and entrepreneurs, and people who speak and elevate others. That's, if you're going to put me in a box me with those people. Those are my people.
I was originally going to read some of the tweets, but I actually don't think it's necessary, because it's clear the impact of them would be next to nothing. I'm curious, though, you have 2 daughters. How has the past couple of weeks impacted them? And how have you been able to navigate conversations with them?
We work on math and their French homework and I brush their naughty hair and yeah, I'm an open book with them in the senses that I want them to come along on the journey to see what mountains I'm overcoming. I give them their level of comprehension. They're 8 and 9, one's turning 10. And they know I'm like, by the way, guys, I got back from the US Open. I'm like, I'm a little emotional right now because I'm being bullied online for who I am. And they're like, oh, okay. I'm letting them know, like, I'm going to be doing podcasts. I'm going to be a little bit busier lately because I have to share my message. I need people to get to know me so they don't have to be afraid of me. And they're just like, okay, mom, they know about my past, again, to their level of comprehension. I'm like, if I ever asked them, like, who did I used to be? They'd be like, a boy. Like, just and they're just the sweetest children. Oh my God. And like I'm very about them being open about how they feel about things. Like I want them to know that it will be bumpy. It'll be a bumpy ride, but I got you.
Has this experience taken away from your wanting to be part of pickleball?
Not at all. Not in any way. And when I play pickleball, everything else disappears. All of it. It just melts away. I have so many good friends that I play with, and they're all, they know what I'm going through. And it doesn't even get talked about on the court. None of it does. I mean, when we're done playing, sometimes it's like, oh, so crazy comments happening, eh? Like, oh God, don't pay attention. But when we play, it's just fun pickleball. And I'm still working to be a pro. I don't know why. I've never cared about sports or wanting to like be the top of my game at something. I want to go pro. So I'm going to follow whatever rules are put in front of me. And at the moment, the transgender policies at the US Open, I was part of the conversation for updating those.
So thank you for bringing that up. That was one of my next questions. So talk to me about that conversation and what it felt like to be a part of that conversation.
I was honored. The founders of the US Open are amazing ladies. And, them reaching out, it was super cool. They called me. I didn't know who was calling me, and they called me. I was like, oh my God, hi, nice to meet you. And they wanted me to be involved in this. They thanked me for being there and not letting it bother me and being a positive impact on the tournament, not a negative one. They updated the policy. And in the policies, they basically took out the measurement of testosterone because it really isn't an accurate way to measure the level playing field. Like I said, there's women who are built like linebackers, 6'5", way stronger, way faster, way like they could outdo me in any sense of physicality. They're basically piggybacking on the IOC, which is the Olympic standards and inclusion for transgender. And it's baby steps. It's not perfect. The conversation is continuing because it isn't perfect, because there is no solid guideline. Like right now, I could go, and if they look at me that day and deem, because it's case by case. It's case by case. And I mean, talking to them, they're like, you're good, you're fine, you're in, you'll be able to play in the pros. But as far as the policy is concerned, if the person at the tournament says, well, I don't feel like you should, I'm at the whim of that, because it's a case by case thing. So it's not perfect yet, but we're making progress. So, I mean, all these people who are like, you need to do this, end of story. I'm like, well, the story isn't over. End of conversation. The conversation isn't over.
Are you over this conversation?
I've already had enough of it. I'm over it. But like I was saying earlier, I realized that I'm here for something way bigger than me, way bigger than transgender or trans sporting. This is way bigger than this. And this is why I need to be in the spotlight. Because right now, I mean, I would much prefer just be playing pickleball. If we didn't have this call, I'd be on the court right now. Just so you know. I know you already know that. You probably would be too. So I'm doing this because I know this is much bigger than me. And it's not about me. It is about the people who are taking abuse nonstop, especially at this day and age. The things that are happening in Florida with the governor there who's constantly passing hundreds of bills, basically trying to eliminate transgender people. The amount of abuse towards our youth who are already dealing with mental health issues out the yin yang, It has to stop. And if I can have any positive impact just by sharing my story and getting people to know who I am, because not everyone is lucky enough to have a Sara in their life. People need to know who I am and who their friends, like so many people would be afraid to tell their friends. I mean, I remember when I told my friends, it was the most nerve-wracking experience I've ever had to go through. And 99% of them turned their backs on me because they didn't understand. They don't know. And like, I haven't spoken to some of my bestest friends in almost 10 years. It's sad. It's so sad because when you get to know me, I'm as crazy as the next person. Not everyone likes me and I'm not everyone's cup of tequila. But I genuinely want people to be happy. I really do.
Yeah. So I would like to go back to the statement that I quoted at the top of our conversation, that pickleball saves lives and it's changed your life. So let's start off with how pickleball has changed your life.
It's given me that I wake up and I'm excited. So I'll actually give you the story how I manifested pickleball, because as a life coach, you serve at a high level. Sometimes I would get this like high, and I called it a serve state. It's like you've served all day, giving, 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 watching people elevate and grow. And it's like you feel high. It's like, wow. And I would experience that, and it was amazing. But I burnt myself out. I emptied my cup to give to others. And I was sitting on the couch one day, and it's like 15 minutes into watching Netflix, I always started to get anxiety. Like, I need to be productive. I need to get to work. I need to be doing things. I cannot sit down. I have a family to take care of. One day I'm like, I am fucking sick of feeling this way. I love serving. I love it. It's my passion. It's my purpose. But to feel this way and be burnt out, to be burnt out and still feel like I got to be more productive, that's not a way to live. Not in my 30s. Like, fuck that. I'm too young to kill myself over giving to people. And in my mind, I'm like, what do I want? Because I wanted to serve in this way and I got it. But now I want something different. And I was thinking about that. What do I really want? What is life about? What is the meaning of life? I came to the conclusion that the meaning to me was experience and growth. Put those two together. And what do I want to experience? I want to experience something that lifts me up and gives me joy. And coaching does that, but it also burns me out. I want to have fun. That was the big thing. It was like, I want to have fun. I want to work less while I'm still live an abundant and thriving life. And I can still be a good role model for my kids and give them more of my attention while having fun with them. I think it was like 3 or 4 months later, pickleball showed up. And it was like instantly when I hit that ball, I was like, this is it. This is what I asked God for. And God said, here you go. You wanted something fun that you could do and make money with and expand and teach and coach. So right now I'm coaching, I'm running leagues, I'm selling paddles. I'm doing all kinds of things in the business world. I run assessments. Me and a Stanley Cup winner actually designed the first pickleball assessment that is very beefy. You go through it on the computer and it assesses how you think and feel on the court, why you might be getting frustrated, why you're not living up to your potential, why you feel under the pressure. It's incredible. I also make money with it. And I'm having the time of my life. At 35 years old, I'm not burning out. I get home and I'm like, I'm tired, but I'm like, I could do this all day.
I love that. I love that. You said pickleball saves lives. Did it save your life?
Pickleball reignited me. It lit a fire in me that I never knew existed. I'm competitive now. I want to win medals. I'm like, that's new to me. And when I go to these tournaments, I stand out because I am a joy. I bring people love and happiness, and I connect with everyone. I hug them all. And when I'm on the court, I do Ernies and ATPs. And if anyone starts clapping, I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I clap for my partner. Like my partner does an ATP. I'm like, oh, guys, yeah. Like I just love it. And, I meet these people. This one lady I just met, she's 87 years old, and she is so mentally, emotionally, and physically there. And I'm like, how long have you been doing this? She's like, years, 8 years or so. And like, now I'm seeing all these young people come on, and she's just such a joy. And she's like, if I didn't have pickleball, I don't know what I'd be doing right now. I would be deteriorating at home. COVID had a hard impact on a lot of people getting stuck in their homes and stuff, and this got people out of their homes. There's people who, the depression that they were dealing with before pickleball was debilitating, and then they get on the court and it's like they get the endorphins, they meet people, they're going out for drinks afterwards and making new friends. Like, yeah, this saves lives.
I want you to take a moment and share how people can follow you on this amazing journey of your pickleball life.
Yeah, so my main platform is Facebook. It's Heck Yeah Pickleball. I go live almost every day, and I'm sharing all my stuff there.
If there's anything that we didn't discuss that you felt like you wanted to share or to clarify, now's the time to do it.
So anyone who is going through transition, like, it's not easy. Get around good people. Doesn't have to be the transgender community. Just get around good people. Don't do it alone. Don't let the haters bother you. Get to know who you are. Forget about who they tell you you are. Because a lot of people are going to tell you you're this, you're that, you're a demon, you're ugly, you're whatever. They're going to tell you all kinds of things. Be strong in who you know who you are. God, I'm getting emotional because I see this a lot. Get around people who remind you that you're amazing. And if you have to ask them to remind you, don't be afraid to. Don't be afraid to ask your friends, can you just remind me that I'm not a bad person? Remind me that I'm beautiful. Even if I don't look good, because I remember when I transitioned, I looked really bad. I was really ugly and all that stuff. But there were people who told me I was beautiful, and it made the difference. It could be the thing that saves lives. Tell your friends to be there for you. Don't do it alone. As much pride as you have, saying, I got this, don't want to be a burden. I'll do this myself. Be a fucking burden. You deserve it. Go be a burden on someone, and then you can take care of someone when you're ready. Don't do it alone. Be solid in who you are. You are beautiful. You are incredible. You are a gift. You are not a liability. You're a gift. Don't ever forget that.
Sara, you are such a gift. And I truly, truly appreciate you coming and speaking with me today. And I cannot wait to share your story.
Thank you. It was an honor and a pleasure being here.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and follow me on the social medias. I'll see you on the court.